What if I told you that archaeologists and scientists might have uncovered real evidence of the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, two cities that, according to the Bible, were consumed by fire from heaven in an event so sudden? It left behind layers of ash and ruin scattered across the region. And what if the true reason for their destruction isn't what we've always been told? For centuries, these cities have been used as symbols of immorality and divine wrath. But what if the real cause behind their downfall runs deeper, and hits much closer to home than we think? Could it be that in looking at Sodom and Gomorrah, we're actually looking into a mirror? A reflection of our own modern society, one shaped by injustice, pride, indifference, and inequality? Get ready for a journey that will deconstruct, explore, and challenge one of the most dramatic stories in the entire Bible. The story you thought you knew might end up revealing much more, not just about the past, but about yourself. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah appears in the book of Genesis and has, for thousands of years, served as a powerful symbol of divine judgment in response to human sin. According to Scripture, these cities were utterly destroyed by fire and brimstone from the sky, a judgment so fierce, it wiped out their people and even the vegetation around them. But is this story solely about sexual sin, as many have believed? The answer is no. Their destruction was about much more: spiritual, social, and moral collapse on a wide scale. In the book of Ezekiel, 16:49-50, God lists the true sins of Sodom: pride, gluttony, laziness, and failure to help the poor and needy. That changes everything. This wasn't just about individual wrongdoing. It was a collective fall. A society that had become indifferent to suffering, obsessed with its own comfort, blind with wealth, and cruel toward the most vulnerable. A community that abandoned hospitality, a sacred value in the ancient world, and instead oppressed those seeking refuge. Sodom and Gomorrah weren't condemned merely for private sins. They were destroyed because the very structure of their society was rotten. Institutionalized evil. And in the face of such corruption, God acted. But before judgment fell, something amazing happened. Abraham interceded. He asked God if he would spare the cities if only 10 righteous people could be found. God, rich in mercy, said yes. But even that small number couldn't be found. The total absence of justice sealed their fate. Still, God sent 2 angels to rescue Lot, Abraham's nephew, and his family. The urgency with which they were told to flee, and not look back, revealed the weight of the coming judgment. And there we encounter one of the most striking moments in the story. Lot's wife looks back and turns into a pillar of salt. That image isn't just about punishment. It's about attachment, about looking back when God is calling us forward. It's about clinging to a life already judged. It's the inability to let go. From a scientific angle, some researchers believe that natural disasters, like a meteor explosion or massive earthquake, could explain the fire and brimstone. Others see the account as a powerful parable meant to deliver moral and spiritual truths. Whether taken literally or symbolically, the story hits home because it echoes a reality that still haunts us: the danger of a society that abandons compassion, justice, and humility. And there's more. This wasn't just a tale of destruction, it was a message. Ancient societies saw hospitality as sacred. Offering protection to strangers wasn't optional, it was a moral duty. That's what makes the violent threats of Sodom's citizens toward Lot's guests so heinous. It wasn't just sin, it was a collective betrayal of divine values. Some scholars argue that Sodom and Gomorrah were indeed real cities that suffered a catastrophic end, perhaps due to a natural disaster. Others insist the story is symbolic. Either way, the point is the same. This is a warning, timeless, powerful, and deeply relevant. Abraham's plea reveals another layer. God is just, but also compassionate. He is willing to spare, willing to forgive, but not at the cost of enabling evil. In the end, not even 10 righteous people could be found. That's how far the cities had fallen. The message of Sodom and Gomorrah goes far beyond a fiery end. These cities weren't destroyed just for private sins, but for becoming examples of systemic injustice, pride, and social decay. They remind us that God sees the cries of the oppressed, and that he does not turn a blind eye to indifference, cruelty, and exploitation. At the same time, we see that God is patient. He listens to intercession. He rescues the few who remain faithful. There is mercy, but there's also a line. Today, we live in modern cities with technology, convenience, and abundance. But many of the same issues are still here: inequality, corruption, arrogance, spiritual apathy. Are we repeating the same story? The tale of Sodom and Gomorrah is not meant to spark fear, it's a call to examine ourselves, to rethink our values, to ask, are we being salt and light in the world, or are we, like Lot's wife, still looking back when God is calling us forward? This story isn't just about God's wrath, it's about His justice, His mercy, and His call to transformation. It's about choosing compassion over pride, righteousness over indifference, and faith over fear. So the next time you hear the name Sodom or Gomorrah, don't just think of fire from the sky. Think of the cries of the poor that went unheard. Think of the arrogance that blinded a city. Think of the call to live differently, because this story isn't just about them. It's about us. If this message spoke to your heart, share it. Leave a comment with your thoughts. And if you want to explore more stories that go beyond the surface, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more. Sodom and Gomorrah were not forgotten by God.